Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Broeren, and my paper for this year's Conference on Theology in the Caribbean today is Healing Land and Healing Lives, Ecological Mystagogy, and the Mission of the Church in a Time of Pandemic. COVID has undoubtedly exposed numerous wounds around the world. There have been, one, its direct effects, such as the loss of lives, the mourning of families and communities, and the separation from each other. Secondly, there have also been what it has revealed to us in showing us the roots of various wounds in history, socio-economic structures, and cultural psychological phenomena. Yet the question for us is this: what can we do as church? In other words, what is the mission to which we are summoned that can turn the proverbial tide? The late Diane Jagdeo defined the Caribbean theological agenda as healing land and healing lives, ecology and human well-being. Thus, perhaps we can search for a healing missiology. Equally so, Jagdeo's appeal to mystery suggests that we may have to explore mystagogy as foundational thereto. In Rahnerian theology, this means that we must search for a means by which we can elaborate on the relationship between the content of the fides quae and the experience in the fides qua. In particular, we must search for a mystagogy that can grasp ecology, both creation and our collective existence therein, due to Jagdeo's appeal to ecology. Thus, emerging from integral and Edouard Glissant's ecology, we must explain the mystery of creation, as it can be experienced, and then the experience of the mystery of creation, including possible implications of that experience. Then, we can elaborate on what the healing missiology looks like. The mystery of creation appears to have three aspects that require our exploration. The first is creation as an icon of the Trinity's work. The second is how creation opens us up to the Trinity and the Trinity's work. And third, it's in how the experience of that mystery begets a human response. And then looking at the particularities of that experience, three aspects arise as well. First, there is conversion, as one begins to reestablish their relationships with both creation and persons therein. Second, there is healing, as a reestablishment of the relationships that have been mystically engrafted onto the human heart. And lastly, there is liberation, as a lived doxology of that healing. But yet, there are also three implications that deserve to be noted as well. The first is recognition of the other, as our conversion allows the other to enter into our horizons. Secondly, there is solidarity, as our healed relationships unite us with one another. And lastly, there is emancipatory ecopraxis, as liberation begets a changed praxis in the person, causing us to live in a very different way. Now, the question arises: what does an ecological mystagogy teach us about what a healing missiology for a post-pandemic Caribbean could be? It is my belief that there are three. First, there is the transformation of ethos, specifically away from the fragmentizing tendencies of individualism, late-stage capitalism, and the technocratic paradigm. Secondly, there is the gathering of a biocratic community that is centered on life, and one whose starting point is the most downtrodden human life. And third, there is the celebration of liturgy as the summation of our communion with each other, with creation, and with God. Lastly, it deserves to be noted that mission always requires an eschatological referent. For this healing missiology, it does not seem to make sense to attempt to totalitize history. Rather, it is perhaps best that we should conceive of a Eucharistic dialectic that is, one, interested in justice, 2, able to celebrate with joy the healing accomplished by God. Or 3, willing to move with the ebbs, flows, and changing tides of history. Yes, within this Eucharistic dialectic, the tides will continue to turn, and perhaps quite often at that. But if the Spirit so moves, we may learn how to turn the tide in each moment, as we share in Christ's healing presence and allow that kingdom to inbreak, even if for a moment. Now, while these reflections still require greater criticism, reflection, and discernment, it is my hope that they can helpfully contribute to the dialogue on what it means to turn the tide. Through our epiclesis throughout this conference, our very collective exploration to stoke the fire of wisdom, our own thought is being, quote, constantly being fashioned and refashioned, in Jagdeo's words. But as long as the Spirit continues to guide us, there is love. And as long as there is love, anywhere can be a place where the kingdom signs show itself.